How's it going, all? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and got another collection update. Obviously been buying a lot of music here lately. That probably won't ever change. So I got some interesting stuff, even some non-metal stuff in here. I'll just make those brief anyway. But let's get into it. Soothsayer, Death Radiation. This is a thrash band that's been around since 1985. They're from Quebec. I don't like dogging bands that much, but this is not particularly good. It has a lot of the hallmarks of crossover thrash. Like, it definitely has a fierce punkish feel, except the songs are really too long for that. So just imagine a long, drawn-out Cryptic Slaughter song, which are best in small doses. Another issue I have are the vocals are really bad on this. Like, off-key screaming, and some of the screaming is just bad. It feels more like yelling rather than actually trying to, project your voice in some sort of just like tone. And a lot of the songs just sort of meander all over the place, and there's a lot of cringy humor all over this place. There's a song on here called Choo Choo, and it is just bad. A lot of these songs, there's moments in them that are really good, but as a whole, these songs are, I don't know what they're going for. Maybe they're trying to take the Voivod approach to music, which is just be kind of weird and off kilter, but the songwriting skills that Voivod has are not present on this band, at least on this release. I might check out some of their older stuff. Like I said, this band's been around since 1985, so maybe their earlier stuff is a lot better, but this is one that came out this year, and I didn't get into it. Again, there's going to be links to all the music down below, and I'm going to definitely post this one. Check it out. Tell me what you think. Ruin, Drown in Blood. This is a death metal band from California. They are definitely very old school, stripped down, murky, dirty sounding death metal. And it's pretty solid for the most part. I brought up one of their other releases in another collection update. I thought it was pretty good. I think this one's a bit better. There's lots of interesting samples, horror movies, grindhouse stuff, even some serial killer stuff. So they're really good about creating like a good horror atmosphere throughout this. Musically, some of the songs get a little dull, a little boring, but they know how to bring it up in other moments too, like lots of good D-beat stomps, which I'm always a sucker for. But all in all, yeah, pretty good album. Definitely worth checking out. Ruin's a pretty solid band. These guys have been around for a while, but they don't have a tremendous amount of releases in terms of full lengths. So I'm going to keep looking around, see what I can find by these guys for sure. Got a couple here from Hypnosia. Now, these guys were a Swedish thrash metal band that formed in 1995, and they didn't release their first full length until 2000, which is this one, Extreme Hatred, which is really fucking good. This is very much in the vein of Sodom, Destruction, just very like German thrash, real fucking heavy, shrieked vocals. There's little bits of death thrash in here too, but lots of catchy riffs. It even kind of reminds me of Sepultura, like circa Schizophrenia and Beneath the Remains in parts. Now this is pretty much everything else they ever did, and it's pretty much a series of demos and splits and such, and really good as well. There's some re-recordings of stuff on here that I already had, and really good covers of Outbreak of Evil by Sodom, and My Belief by Possessed, which they fucking did a great job on too. Now, I guess this band was short-lived because the drummer died, and I guess they just decided not to continue on without him, which, I understand that one. This is really good stuff. I had never heard of these guys. I just picked them up because I looked at the covers, and I was like, well, this is bound to be fucking heavy shit, which is a good guess that they were going to be good, and I'm glad this fucking paid off because I really enjoy both of these releases. They're both fucking fantastic, and if you love thrash metal and you love your thrash metal heavy and almost death metal-ish, definitely check these guys out. Either one of these are great. Volbeat, Rewind, Replay, Rebound. New one from Volbeat. I used to be a bigger fan of these guys. I liked their blend of punk, rockabilly, and thrash metal. I thought it was pretty cool, and now it's kind of just become kind of a labor thing, and they're definitely more poppy these days, for sure. A lot of those thrashier moments are more sparingly used on this. And, some interesting guests on here. You had Neil Fallon from Clutch. You had Gary Holt on here contributing a lead. There's a lot of choirs and female vocals used a lot throughout this entire album, just to back up choruses and even verses. And while Robert Burleson has, a cool, fun delivery, if you love, like, Elvis and shit like that, the shtick is kind of wearing out for me. And the songs definitely don't have the same impact. I think their last release had a little more edge to it. This feels like a big dive into far more commercial metal, bordering on just rock now. Still has some catchier moments. I mean, there's the opening track is a flat-out pop song, but it is actually pretty damn catchy. And there's even parts in there that kind of remind me of Boston, which I still love that shit. But yeah, I'm kind of getting burnt out on these guys, but I decided to pick it up on a whim just to see what they're all about, and not particularly impressed. But still, check it out anyway. That's just my opinion. Gomorrah, self-titled. This is their second album from Gomorrah. I did their first one on another collection update, and this is technical deathcore / death metal. It's really kind of hard to describe because it is really feral and all over the fucking place. This stuff is fucking vicious. Really technical play, but lots of cool, interesting melodies throughout. Lots of cool dissonant melodies throughout. So there's some more atmospheric stuff, but this band still loves breakdowns. There's some kind of djenty ones in here too. It kind of reminds me of a combination of a band like Ion Dissonance and Beneath the Massacre, but with a little touch of prog in some spots. Interesting lead-ins to a lot of the songs too. They definitely know how to separate them, but this shit just gets nutty on here. Like there's parts in there that remind me of like a band like Cattle Decapitation at their most fucking vicious. But yeah, all in all, I think this is a really interesting release. It seems a little short, but I think the songs on here are really fucking just heavy as balls, and they were just going for just trying to fucking crush your eardrums kind of music, and they achieved that. Definitely check it out. Origin, Abiogenesis, and A Coming Into Existence. This is the early works of Origin, pretty much remastered and reissued. It includes their original demo and their first EP, which has pretty much everything on their first self-titled album. So this is pretty much their early works remastered and their original EP remastered, which if you have their first self-titled album, you have their original EP. It's just a different sound. It's a little bit more rough on that one. The first 8 tracks are their original demo, and I think those are really good. Like, it pretty much has all the hallmarks of Origin sound. It's nasty, it's raw, it's fucking fast, fucking blast beats, and just nasty, shrieked vocals. It's everything, you love about Origin. And then the demo stuff is definitely a little bit more rough, and it didn't feel as necessary since, once again, if you have their first album, you have all the tracks that are on here. But it's an interesting look into their past. May not be exactly where they are in the future, and it's really interesting to compare this to where they are now in terms of their sound, and see the growth along the way. Surprisingly, this came out on Agonia Records, which I don't know if Origin actually left Nuclear Blast, which they've been on for the last few albums. So be curious to see what their next studio album is and what label it comes out on. Check it out. Evil United, Serpent. This is a thrash band from Texas, and they're relatively new, even though these guys have been around the scenes, I think, more locally for a while. Now, the frontman is a member of a couple of different acts. I believe he's the frontman also for Howling Sycamore. This is just straight up raw thrash metal, very Slayer and Exodus, Overkill thrown in there too. Now, unfortunately, the thing that drove me nuts about this is the music is fucking solid. It's straightforward thrash metal. It's, my bread and butter. I fucking love that shit. I've been listening to it for years. The vocals, it's hard to say if I can say they're bad or good because there's so many damn filters on them and so many unnecessary touches to them that didn't need to be there. The first track, the first actual track after the intro, that is, Spirited Population Control, is really good. It's straightforward, very Slayer, thrash oriented, heavy as hell, and the vocals are very raw and straightforward. They're nice and kind of screamy and maybe a little growly in some parts. And then as the album goes on, there's just so much vocal layering, and then you hear other registers in this guy's voice that are just not very appealing to me, like just high and out of tune, or layered with another vocal layer that doesn't necessarily harmonize with the original one, and it just really doesn't do it for me. It really takes away from the entire thing, and it's hard to ignore them because the vocals are so out in front. At even points, I think they drown out some of the riffs. But musically, I think this is really fucking solid. Anyway, check it out. Form your own opinion. That's just mine. You know, you might dig it. Here Lies Man, No Ground to Walk Upon. This is a very interesting release. This isn't necessarily metal, and it kind of leans more towards like stoner rock and such like that. I wouldn't say this is metal at all. It's almost like the score to a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like, it's very like psychedelic rock, like maybe like more Iron Butterfly than, you know, Iron Maiden. It's interesting. I'll say that it'd be a good score for a movie. It's just, I don't know, it's really kind of hard to have these songs really stand out to me because they all kind of just sounded like a car chase in some 70s movie or something like that. It's not bad. It's just really not my thing, and I, you know, just kind of picked this one up on a whim just to see what it was all about. It looked interesting, so checked it out, and, you know, it's interesting in its own way, just maybe not as appealing to me. Either way, check it out. All right, not going to spend much time on these because these are fiercely not metal. Depeche Mode's Violator and Songs of Faith and Devotion. I love Depeche Mode. It's kind of one of my escapes from metal. You know, I've been a fan of them since I was a kid. You know, I grew up in the MTV era. So, yeah. But, yeah, not metal. But if you like Depeche Mode, I'll leave links for it in the description as well. And if you never heard them, just check them out. Maybe one of those things you realize you've heard a lot of these songs before on the radio or saw on MTV or anything like that. Or even heard in a movie. They're a good band. Just check them out. And finally, we have Horseburner The Thief. This came out on Ripple Music. We've been doing a lot of stuff from those guys here lately. This is awesome, almost proggy, stoner, rock, doom metal in parts. Has a fierce Macedon, Baroness-esque feel. Really, really good shit. There's even bits of crust punk scattered throughout here. Really long songs that keep building, and there's a lot of excellent songwriting here. Vocals are pretty good on this. There's a lot of harmonized yells and screams that really worked to great effect on here. I really dig this fucking album. It's super fucking good. The songwriting in here is fucking immense. I totally dig it, and I totally recommend this one. Check it out. That does it for another collection update. Again, there are links to all the music down below in the description if you're interested in jamming any of it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We do shit like this all the time. Catch you later.